This is a chair. Do you know how to use it? Turns out a lot of people don't. I'm Dr. Dave Candy from Movement for Life, and I work with people almost every day who are trying to sit up with good posture, and really they're doing themselves a disservice. Somewhere a long time ago, I believe it was Victorian era England, people were taught to sit up prim and proper, nice and tall, and that's what it took to be a proper lady in high society. Here in St. Louis, Missouri in 2019, we need to do what's best for our backs. And what they taught 200 years ago really has nothing to do with what's good or bad for your spine. And a lot of people have been taught that you should sit at the edge of your chair, sit up nice and tall. Some people have even gone to the extent of getting rid of their chair and sitting on exercise balls so that they can get their core stronger. But sitting is really not an activity that you do to get stronger. Sitting is a time when you should actually be relaxing. If you look at the ancient Greeks, they reclined at table. And when we're sitting in chairs, there's these things called backrests. They're put there to rest your back. If you're sitting constantly at the edge of the chair using your core muscles to hold you up tight all day, the muscles in your back and your hip flexors in the front, they both attach to your spine. And when you have muscles in the back compressing right there, and muscles in the front compressing right there, that creates huge amounts of compressive forces on the discs in your spine, which people think that they're doing themselves a good service, and in reality, they're usually just making the problem worse. So if you'd like to learn how to actually sit in a chair, I'm going to give you some basic tips today. Keep in mind that everyone's body's built differently, so what's ideal for me is not going to be ideal for everyone. If you're tall or short or thick or thin, your needs are going to be a little bit different. But these are some basic tips to help get you started. And if you have more questions, feel free to reach out on Messenger or comment below the video here. So, they put these backrests on chairs. We need to use them. For some people, you may need a little cushion back there, but for a lot of people, actually those cushions that are lumbar supports push you into more extension than you really need. If you're someone who's particularly sensitive to bending positions, then they may be good for you. But for the vast majority of people, getting all the way back in your chair so that your bottom's right up against the seat, leaning back and kind of rounding your feet in, rounding your back and flattening it back into the chair so that those muscles in your back relax and they can let you fully recline against the chair back. Second is your feet. They should be flat on the floor. Roughly about a 90-degree angle in your hips. Some people need it a little higher, some people need it a little bit lower. And that's based on your individual body anatomy plus what conditions you may have going on. Some people a little higher than 90, some people a little lower than 90. But that's the general rule of thumb. You want your feet to be flat on the floor, or if you have to raise your chair up higher because of desk surfaces, have a little stool or footrest that you can rest your feet on, so that they're still resting flat on something and your legs are supported. Moving back into the desk here, we work at computers a lot during the day. A lot of people will sit with their computer or their keyboard right at the edge of the desk. A question I ask people a lot with respect to their armrests is, does your chair have armrests on them? The usual answers are, yes, it does have armrests. Do you use your armrests? No, I don't use my armrests. So they're there, but they're not being functional. So we have people that are sitting at the front end of their chair with their backs in a lot of extension, their arms up supported on a keyboard, unsupported on a keyboard, and working like this for 4, 6, 8 hours, 10 hours a day. And we wonder why we have chronic problems that build up. So a couple tips with the keyboard. First, getting back into your chair like we talked about before, and either pushing your keyboard and computer monitor or laptop back far enough on the screen that you can get your whole forearm and elbow supported on the desk so that they can comfortably relax. Your arms shouldn't be pushed up like that. They also shouldn't be draping down really far at your side. They should just be comfortably supported so that your hands can reach the keyboard without you having to use muscle effort to hold them up. That prolonged muscle effort can actually create tension in your neck, and lots of people carry stress in their neck. A lot of people even say that's where I carry my stress. That's because you're a human being. That's where we tend to do that. Another option is if you have one of these keyboard trays to move your keyboard or even your whole laptop down to the keyboard tray so that you can then actually use the armrests that are on your chair. These ones aren't adjustable. Adjustable armrests are helpful if you work in an office that has a lot of people in them. These ones actually work out pretty well for me, but they wouldn't for everyone. And with this height of keyboard tray, it works out pretty well that I can type comfortably and not have a whole lot of problems with it. When you do sit all the way back in your chair, you're probably going to have to scoot your chair in closer in order to get into your desk. A lot of people will sit at the very edge of their desk because they need to sit like that. Your armrests, if they don't fit under the desk, that may be a height issue that you have to work out either with your office manager or getting a desk that'll either raise up or a chair that'll come down lower or a keyboard tray that you can drop your chair down lower and still get appropriate support. So those are just a couple basic tips for sitting at a desk and using a chair. And it's a common misconception that a lot of people have. They think that they're using good posture when in reality they're actually doing themselves harm. So if you'd like to learn about this or other common misconceptions, we're going to try to make a weekly post of this, some common misconceptions that people have about what's good for their body and what they're mistakenly doing that could be causing more harm than good. So keep tuned. We'll try to make this a weekly Friday episode and look forward to seeing you all next week.